Hey, Joe 200, how you doing? It's Sunday, January 22nd, 2023, and we're going to do week three. Um, I'm not doing my recording from my kind of dining living room area. You can see this side over here, my bedroom doors. That's my bed in background. You can hear my scratchy voice. So I got the suds, okay? And if any of you guys remember SpongeBob, that was SpongeBob's version of some freaking respiratory things. And you get exposed to hundreds and hundreds of students at USC the way I am. I have a big class in the auditorium with 230 students, and everybody was coughing and hacking. So I'm tested negative so far for COVID, but I don't feel that great. So and I'm trying to stay away from the rest of my family. So I'm doing the record. See what I mean? Recording from up here. All right, I got that dry cough. I don't want. I haven't gotten COVID yet, guys. So who knows? Maybe I got it now. So, but anyways, so for those of you that are new to the class, and I know you guys that are veterans of the class, 3 weeks into it, you're tired of hearing these emails, but I do want you to find the early emails way back here, okay? And this is how this course is done. This is chronologically. This is the very first email, okay? And everything is posted, all right, so that you can catch up with the class, and it's your job. You got to catch up, okay? Um, I have two lectures here, right here. One is how to get an A in the class, okay? And then this is the first lecture that kind of shows you how we're going to go through each weekly assignment, all right? So it's up to you guys. Please check that out, okay? This is the syllabus, chunks of it that are laid out for you, and you see the prior lectures, okay? So I'm in week 3. There's week 1 and week 2 right there, okay? Awesome. God, if ever this was a time to listen to the words of Martin Luther King and how hate is too great a burden to bear. It seems like every day there's some new tragedy in our country. I grew up in Monterey Park, so I used to hang out at Garvey and Garfield all the time. There was one of my favorite pastrami restaurants there called the Hat. Our hearts go out to you guys that are from that community. My childhood house was in Floral Drive. I used to hang out at the Atlantic Square, Atlantic and Garvey. Go to Alhambra. That was my scene. And my older brother still lives there in the old family home. And after my mom passed, he inherited the house. And it's very real, very real. In fact, I have quite a few friends that still live in Monterey Park, and it's such a tragedy. And yeah, I don't know. Our country's laws with guns, I just don't get it when you look per capita. And I don't want to get too political, but you look at per capita, and our rate of death by gun violence is about 1,000 times greater than any other country that is modern like us. So it's a weird, and we're so together in our country, and yet we're so backwards with respect to that. So, all right. Um, I know many of you are celebrating the Lunar New Year, and it's certainly a time for pause. This is not what we had anticipated, and the different cultures have different celebrations, and then we can see here that people from Vietnam celebrate different than many of the other cultures around the country. But either way, um, hug your family, hug your friends. All right, so if you're new to this class, there are how-to folders right here. All right, and so you go in there and it explains kind of everything. So it's up to you to go check it out. Every week there's a rollout of the assignment. You're going to get a video like this that guides you. Okay, I'm going to send out a video that explains to you how to write up this first paper. Pretty simple. You see it's coming down. You should calendar all these events. You see it's coming down the pike. All right, February 13th, and we call them critical thinking assignments. So you actually go in and gather data. All right, guys? Very cool. So calendar all this up. You're gonna love this class, and it's very, very relevant. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go into week 3. This video that you're watching right now is gonna be posted within the curriculum week 3 right here. So it says video on U.S. generations. So as indicated right here, this third assignment kind of gives you the opportunity to kind of feel what it might be, what it would be like, sorry, to work for an organization that does demographic population public health research. There are tons of jobs out there, guys, and you never know. Maybe by taking this class, you might find yourself interested in pursuing a career, for example, with the Kaiser Family Foundation, the Pew Foundation, the Rand Corporation. So these are all big, giant think tanks that try and project and predict the future in terms of public health issues based on population trends, and then it helps, economically for large communities, the state of California, and our country to kind of figure things out and be ahead of the curve. So yeah, it's a pretty cool career for you guys to think about. All right, so we have three articles. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. They're pretty simple. For those of you that are new to the class, we often will throw down the link. Sometimes links can be unreliable, so we always have a PDF file that is a copy of that link. Okay. My preference is to go into there, especially like, for example, in this third article right here. If you go in here, it's interactive and fun to kind of look at. Okay. What we generally ask you to do is, you go in here to the, excuse me, Blackboard, all right, and then you just open up. I think it's an approach. It doesn't have to be your approach, but it is an approach. And you go in here, and you open it up twice. Okay, so we're going to go into the same weekly assignment, all right, and we come down here, and you go into week 3. And the difference being is we're going to go through the curriculum, and the other one, this one, you just kind of open your quiz, all right? You open the quiz. And by the way, it's okay. This is, it's okay for you guys to work as a team on this. Some of you won't be fortunate enough to work as a team, then you work independently. You'll see 5 questions that pop up. Now, do understand that we have generated pools of questions, so of about 35, 40 questions per topic, and randomly you're going to get 5. So there's a good chance you're not going to get the same 5 or even the same 1. These same questions will show up on the midterm. As you can see, the midterm is located right over here. Okay. All right. So what my advice to you is just kind of look them over. In the U.S., what significant demographic trend are we seeing since 1960 regarding the percentage of adults 18 and older who are married? I don't know. We're gonna have to go take a look at that. Okay. Um, I have a pretty good guess, though. You guys know people in your generation are getting married. Okay. Um, you can, look at this. What do we call the generation born before and during World War II? Okay, from this area to here. Are they boomers? Are they silent generation? Let's find out. Okay, so that's what you do. All right, so then we go, hey, wait, before I get too far, let's take a look here. Check this out. Um, there are big football games on right now, but there is a contest, surfing contest being run in Hawaii right now that is like none other. It happens every couple of years. It's where the waves have to be 20-foot plus all day long, and they run these heats with these hellmen that are out of their minds. And the wave facers today are somewhere between 40 and 70 feet high. And you can see it just looks crazy out there, crazy, 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 crazy. So yeah, so it's called the Eddie Aikau Big Wave Invitational. You can go onto YouTube, you can check this out, and here, let's watch the replay. So here he goes. Yes, just wild men. And this is from a drone, right here. But it doesn't really, there. Now watch from here. Watch from this angle. These guys are out of their minds. Oh, 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 that would hurt so much. I broke a rib doing that very same thing. Not in a way that, oh my God. These guys are so committed, so committed. Anyways, pretty wild stuff. So check it out, guys. Okay, so all right. I'm hoping I can get out. There we go. Cool. All right, now go back to it here. All right, it's back up because I may have to check it out again later on. But first, we got to go in and do some real work. All right. So, like I said, my preference is we're going to go into the to the website. So first of all, if you're working for the Rand Corporation, you're working for the Pew Foundation, which is right here. you're working for the Kaiser Family Foundation, and there's lots of career opportunities here. If you're doing population analysis, you're going to have to define it. It's pretty simple stuff, okay? So this article is about a page long, and it goes through, what has gone down and asking ourselves, what do we call people, okay? Particularly, what do we call you guys, okay? So, we're looking for this generation, okay, that was born over the last, born over the last 20 years, okay? And so what should we call you, okay? So we see here these generational time points, okay? And we look at the boundaries and talk about it right here, okay? We see who's millennials, we see who's Gen X born between 65 and 1980, baby boomers, okay? When were they born? And then your guys' generation. So you can see how we've demarcated this, okay, right here. You were born between, were you born between 28 and 45, okay? What do we call you? We call you, there's the answer to the question. We call you the silent generation. Oh, my parents were called the silent generation, okay? There's the baby boomers. That's me right here. When was I born? Right smack in the middle here in 1956, okay? Um, and Julia, my wife, was born in 62, barely a boomer, okay? Gen Xers, okay? Which probably is a lot of your parents. You may even have millennial parents because that's what's happening. And then you guys, when were you born? Were you born between 97 2012? Probably, and are we going to extend that out? So basically, they went through the literature and they found how often over this time frame in articles, people were referred to the I generation, the post-millennial generation, and hands down, you see that people, whether it's news or it's demographers like these people that are studying population, they decided that Gen Z was what we're going to call you guys, and it stuck. Okay, so that's what that's all about. Pretty straightforward stuff. But again, you have to define your variables, and that was a big step to define the variables. And so we're going to have to figure out, the name of the next generation and and bracket it in terms of when they were born. Okay, awesome. Okay, so that's what that was all about. Okay, so then we go into the second article. Okay, second article is pretty cool. It looks at certain trends. Okay, so we'll look right here. As I said here, we're going to look at some trends that are impacting the U.S. and the world. All right, and based on the size of the generation. So let's take a look at that. So we heard from the previous readings that we went through together that there's a big kind of economic consequence. There's a burden, for people my age to get these chronic diseases of aging, where I'm tapping into Medicare for 15, 20 years to pay for my cardiovascular disease, my cancer, my arthritis, on and on and on and on. Okay, and the Medicare trust, okay, the Social Security trust, okay, this money is not just sitting there earning interest and growing. You guys got to pay into it, and as more of us come into it, then you guys got to pay more into it in terms of your Social Security tax and Medicare tax, and that's coming. That we're going to keep lifting that up. So we look at these trends, okay, that shape the U.S. and the world based on demographics. Okay, so we see that baby boomers, okay, so their children, if they were having children, when they should be, are going to start outnumbering the millennials are going to start outnumbering the baby boomers. So their children are going to outnumber them. Okay, that's because baby boomers are dying off. It is what it is, and so how does that impact sociology? How does that impact like economic and political decisions? All you make this projection by studying the numbers. Okay. All right, so what do we see here? A record number of Americans live in multi-generational households, and this is a big trend. This comes up, my friends, in your discussion, okay? Because we are passing on to you the baton of housing being completely out of control in terms of affordability. It's really sad, but home equity goes crazy, skyrocketed the value of homes, and your salary from your job on average doesn't even come close to keeping up with it, so it becomes impossible to qualify. So there is a trend, and it's as long as you can kind of set up the boundaries with your parents, or set up boundaries with your brother and sister, your auntie, your uncle, whatever it is, to have this shared living space. We're returning back to our roots, okay? And so all of us came from cultures where families were tight knit, and families formed what are called the family collective, where they would combine their resources financially so they could afford to do more. Okay, so there would be peaks and valleys, but on average you were much stronger. Caregiving, so when you had your little niños, your little boys and girls, you knew you could leave your kids with your parents or your aunts and uncles. They would watch over the kids as they were no longer in the workforce, and then you could go out there, make money, and then boom, combine your resources. So you may be looking down the barrel of this, where just to get going, that you'll live with your parents. Okay, you may have children. Your parents will watch your kids, so you can have that cost savings for that. Then you can take all of your earned income and put it into high earning equities. We're going to learn about that. So you put it into, you make up your own brokerage account, and buy bundles of stocks and make some investments, okay? And then next boom, you can buy a house, okay? Which is, your goal, and you can move out, and then maybe you invest well and you buy a second house, okay? This is, it's the finance of growing up, guys. All right, so anyways, so we see here, again, this trend towards multi-generational housing, okay? Going up and up and up, and it's continued to go up since 2016. What else do we have? Okay. Oh my God. So the other thing is people don't get married anymore. Okay. This has continued to go down and down and down and down in your generation. I apologize for having the suds. I hate it, man. And so that changes the landscape. You got to be careful. Okay. Because if you're not married, there could be some financial consequences, and people are less likely to hang around when they have kids. And oftentimes you'll have these skedaddles, and they're much more difficult to find. So you got to be very, very careful with that. So if we look up here, for a while, motherhood was ticking up, but globally it's going down again. And actually it's happened, and for us it's going down. In the most westernized, most difficult to survive financially countries, there are less kids, okay? We see a growth of immigration, okay? So other countries where the fertility rate is much higher, people are fleeing these countries, and they're coming into our country, okay? Based on politics, we always are going to see shifts and changes in terms of the religious composition of the people that are immigrating to our country. So we had President Trump in office, and he decided he was going to put the screws and clamp down on people immigrating from Muslim countries. So it made it very, very difficult on that. We have a new sheriff in town, okay, and for a while we had control over Congress, the Senate, and the president's office, and changes were made to be more equitable in terms of immigration. All right, and so that's going to shift the types of international arrivals that we see in our country. So anyways, pretty simple article, but cool to think about it, because when you look at all those trends, you make projections in terms of business models, in terms of government economics, and that way, if you make a good projection, okay, you're not catching up. Okay, you're being proactive instead of being reactive, which is a good thing. Okay, awesome. All right. Excuse me. It sucks, man. As you guys know, I'm sure you guys have all had the Rona. All right, so then this looks like it's kind of like I said, it's a fun article provided by, again, the Pew Research Center. We can look at changes that have happened, okay? It's a little bit interactive right here. All right, so we can look at in 2017, or we can look when they were younger, okay? All right, so we're looking at right here. So you see right here, race, ethnicity in 2017, okay? How did it all stack up, okay? So in 2017, If we look across the board in our country, we see that the my parents, your great grandparents or your grandparents were we are a Western European country for the most part with respect to the early growth of our country. And so we saw that right here that it was predominantly a white society, okay? But you saw this transition based on immigration, and it continues to change right here, okay? So that's race and ethnicity as a function of these generations. How about marital status, okay? So we see this change right here, okay? Now, you see, oh, wait, great grandma and grandpa, they should be married, okay? They were married, but of course, you're going to see a lot more people that are widowed, okay, sadly, okay? But that means they were married, okay? So you could add these agents up and you see if they, out here, most people were married out there. So you can just see here, again, the degree of widowing. You see that there is this, for this generation right here, kind of a lot of divorce going on. Divorce rates are going up, okay? So again, compare the groups. Male education. Alrighty, so we see changes in terms of education patterns as a function of each of these generations, okay? But the big change, in terms of whether you can see a bachelor's degree, okay? You can see right here, less than ninth grade education. That was more common, of course, in my parents, your great grandparents or grandparents' generation. And we see that there's more and more emphasis on education. We see here female education, big changes, okay? So bachelor's degree in my mom's generation, pretty unheard of. We see it's going up and up and up and up and up, okay? We compare labor force, male versus female, and changes that have happened, okay? Again, more and more women working in these generations. I would love to look at the Gen Zers, okay? That would be coming next. Household incomes, okay? You can see this change, okay? So you're obviously, when you're retired, you're not going to be making a lot of money. This is the peak of your earning potential. These are averages, okay? And then these are the people that are coming up in the system, and these are people like me that are coming out of the system, okay? Are you living in urban environments, okay? Or are you living in rural environments? And we see that is pretty constant. All right, and then this is the number of members of the population in each of these generations. So it's kind of fun to kind of look around, and then they hone it down here and they look at different components based on what I was talking about here. So you can read this and kind of check it out. That's that earlier figure that where we were defining generations. All right, so understanding all that, guys, is really useful economically. It's really useful. Even if you're in product design and and you're looking at the number of people that and their purchasing power and changes in population trends, it really helps in terms of your business and projecting. Do I have an audience within these age groups? So you can look at this and make projections. All right, guys, cool. Now let's look at the eddy. Oh, okay, wait. All right, okay, here goes somebody live. Ooh, God, these guys are nuts. All right, so the thing with the Waimea, it breaks really steep and then goes in straight into a big open channel, and then sometimes these guys will try and ride it all the way into what's called the shore break. And the other thing that's really hard with the waves when they're big, you see how it's wave after wave after wave is called consistent. Here's another one, because these are generated by storms so far away. So by the time they get to coastline, then you have a very consistent wave, wave after wave after wave. These guys are amazing. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna get out of this again. Awesome, and then I'll keep it going. Maybe I'll go back later. But let's focus. Okay, showing my ADHD right now. Let's get in here. All right, so again, that gives you all this background. It's going to help you with your reading quiz that remember we opened earlier right there. Okay, and then lastly, we come here and look at some kind of immediate consequences. I made mention of this, guys, in terms of, and it was in one of the articles, that housing is a big deal. Okay, and I talk about it right here. Okay, it's almost impossible to purchase a home. Okay, and and we look at the trends. We can look at prior generations, the Gen X, the millennials, the Gen Zs. Okay, you're coming down the pike. We don't have the information on you, but you can see right here the percentage of people that are Gen Xers compared to baby boomers that own their homes is pretty damn small. This was in 2019, okay? Pretty dang small, okay? This is even kind of scary right here. There are so many people that are my age that are renting, living alone, can't afford it. It's a big, big deal. So again, these are all problems that you guys are going to have to solve. And then, if you're going to just be, and I'm worried about myself. Okay, it's not being selfish. I got to establish myself. I got to get things figured out. Okay, so we look down here at the affordability, housing affordability in California. This is from 2022. And we see some numbers right here. Okay, so this right here shows that this is an index of the affordability of California households that could afford to purchase a median. This is an average price home. That's not like when I'm living down here in Laguna Niguel. Only 16% of our California population would qualify to buy a home. 16%. Okay. All right. So that scares the poop out of everybody. Okay. And we can see how it's gone down from 21 to 22, from 23% to 16%. Okay, so what is the median price of a house? So this is what we stack up every single house that is for sale right now in the state of California, going from the least expensive to the most expensive, and we look right in the middle, right here, the median. The median house you see here is 883,000. All right, which is crazy in terms of affordability. Okay, in order to afford this median house, this is the minimum income that you would have to have, $200,000. Okay, so stacked up against that, okay, I want you to go back and start thinking about here, as we see down here, okay, whether or not you would consider multi-generational housing, right, as a solution for you. It would also help the number of people that are facing cost burdens, okay, when they get older. So this is the all-time high. We looked at 2017 housing cost burned, and this is looking at the number of older adults that are living alone. Okay, it may be a big house, so maybe you could live with your mom or live with your dad, and you see that the numbers are going up. 2018, 2028 to 2038, these projections of people living alone. Either you can live with them, or they're living alone and renting, and they can't afford anything. And that is the basis of this website right here. It's kind of beyond you guys, but if you have a curiosity and you're in housing, I know. A lot of my former students were actually had a major at Marshall in real estate development, and so you got to wrap your head around this. Maybe you're gonna be a builder or work with a builder. They're gonna make maybe 150, 200 homes, and you're gonna design those homes so that people will have those multi-generational boundaries so they can live together. Okay, you ever think about that? I think that's the future, guys. That's something to think about at least. It's a niche that needs to be filled. So yes, you can go to this website right here to access this PDF file as well. So we have the PDF file. It's really, really long, but it's for you guys, the aficionados. If you're super interested, you can check it out. Okay, so here we go right here. Takes you to the PDF file. And like I said, it's very, very long, but it's deals with this issue of a compassionate society and trying to house older Americans. What are we going to do? Okay, so come right in here. You hit the. All right, so this is one of those PDF files. So anyways, you just hit the hand, and you can go like so, right? And it goes through the issues, and then you just go to the next page. And there's lots of fun reading here, graphics that you can look at this issue. Again, this is what we're talking about, people, by 2038 that will be living alone. Okay, so these are big issues. And so check it out, okay? Put it into your plan. Again, like I said, maybe you guys are going to be think tank people. Maybe some of you guys are going to be actually in real estate development. These are all things you're going to have to think about, all right? All right. As you can tell, I sound like crap. We'll see how the Eddie's doing. There's all kinds of people hanging out, checking it out. God, I wish I was in Hawaii right now. This is the North Shore of Hawaii, like I said, in Waimea. Um, all right, guys. So I'm gonna say right now, peace. Stay in communication. If you have any problems, let us know. We're going to help you out. We're well on our way. We're done with our population analysis, and we're going to see that future weeks we're going to start getting into um, some of the aspects of our biology that makes us vulnerable. Understanding the biology of aging might help us in terms of dealing with diseases like cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease. So these are important topics. We're going to spoon feed it to you guys. Don't worry about it. And again, I'm rambling, so take care, guys, and we'll see you next week.